Hey,
Hey Liz,
how are you?
doing great. How are you?
Awesome. And I just wanted to welcome everyone here on today's webinar. Super excited. Bobby, can you actually share your screen or do you need assistance with that?
It says the host has disabled screen sharing
Okay.
and in video.
I just gave you the option.
Okay.
Good. Awesome. I'm actually going to jump in really quick first. Is that if that's okay? And then I'll give you the opportunity, but it's good to see you here.
Yeah, great to see you. Can you just confirm that you can see my
Yes,
my PowerPoint? Great. Okay.
I can. I can. So welcome everyone. I would love to Tessa, thanks for the support. Appreciate all your help. I'd love to just welcome everyone very quickly here to today's webinar. I love this topic because I think we need more tools in our toolbox when it comes to finding off market. Bobby, I was just on another webinar. I gave you guys a big shout out and told
Oh, thank
everyone
you.
to be working with you. So I really believe in what you're up to, and I'm so excited to hear what you have to talk about. Before we do that, though, I'm going to just share very quickly. And while I just pull my screen, my slides up very quickly, I'd love to hear in the chat box. We have a very engaged group typically. Where you're calling in from and what you're excited about learning about today. I'd love to see that in the chat box because, intentionality is everything in life. If you're not intentional with what you want to get out of something, you get nothing out of it. So I would love to see, hey, Nitu, nice to have you here. Coco, hey, Mary from Florida, much warmer than where I am in the Northeast. But
South
yeah,
Florida, shout out.
what's that?
South Florida. I like it.
I know I want to be in Florida, much better and much warmer than where I am. I'm just going to share my screen here though, and then get rolling here. But let me see what else we got here. Other
Chiefs
folks
Kingdom. Okay. Okay. All over the country. I love
all
it.
over the country. Los Angeles. Hey Jenny. Hey Karen. Market is tough. Yeah, I hear
Yes,
you.
it is. Yes, it is. And that's exactly why we're going to explore how to use AI to get really great off-market deals. So,
Lancaster, and I actually own some properties in Lancaster, so I love
oh,
the Lancaster market. Rebecca and Karen, good to have you here. Okay, awesome. And if you're new to our community, I want you to put new in the box because I want to give you a special welcome. We've been at this for 6 years. We believe that it is a woman's right for financial freedom on her living life on her own terms. We believe that. It's not just a mission statement, but we believe that's what a right of a woman that's literally in the entire globe. And that's what we stand on. That's what we believe in. And that's why we exist. Very cool. Thank you for being here, the folks that are new. All right. I'm going
I
to
had
run
I,
through.
I had a few people in the network that saw the short promotional video that you posted on Instagram. They were like, "Oh, I didn't know you were going to be joining and hosting a webinar." So it's just shows how small of a community is.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Hey, Jennifer, can't wait to hear more about AI. Yes, we're going to get to Bobby and his phenomenal resources that we have access to here. I just want to share quickly about our community for those that are new and existing, just so you know you can keep the conversations going. Because what I love about what we're doing with Deal Flow is that Bobby and his team is an ongoing resource. They're an ongoing support. It's not just that he's going to share some great tips today and then you'll never see them again. That's why we do have these partners that are quite honestly able to support you along the way. And so quickly here, we have a Facebook community. This is a free place for you to ask questions, get the support you need. If you spam, we will take your post down. We're pretty diligent. We don't deal with that. We want to keep it clean, keep it engaging, keep it supportive. We also have meetups across the country, 50 plus in USA and in Canada. We are with big plans for meetups this year, so stay tuned. But the goal is to have a meetup in every geographical area of the world. That's the intent. That's the vision. So you can connect with local investors. For those who are realtors, we also have Invest Her EXP org. This is a team of women who are agents also looking to invest. So excited about that. We also do these free webinars twice a month. Check them out. Always doing some great, valuable content on our website. For those who don't know, we have InvestHerCon coming up in June 2nd to 4th. I know Bobby will be there and so many of our partners will be there. Stay tuned. We have some really big speakers we'll be announcing like in the next week. But we have 30 speakers, 2.5 days. It's going to be a transformational event. So stay tuned for more, but you got to get your ticket and come out and play with us. And we also have our Strive program. Always I always want to share that. It's for women who are doing 5 to 10 deals and are looking for support. And they just want to stop doing things all by themselves. So that's what the whole point of that is. And we have a free ticket if you do apply and get accepted. All right. Next thing I wanted to share here, lastly, and then I'm going to introduce you, is our regional event. If you are in Austin, or take a flight to Austin, we will be there February 10th. We're going to be doing more of these regional, like little mini investor cons, where it's going to be like an immersive full day. And this one's all about helping you achieve your 2024 goals. We're going to be putting women on the hot seat. We're going to be doing a financial session. We have a great group of investors that'll be doing a panel on leverage. Really excited about that. And we're going to be doing it at Quest Trust's offices, one of our other partners, and really pumped about that. So check that out if you don't have your ticket. It's on our website under events. Okay, now I'm out of breath. The floor is yours, Bobby. And let's jump into, oh, good, Rebecca. Looking forward to seeing you there. Looking forward to this topic. Again, there's 2 things I'm going to ask you after we're done. What did you learn and what action are you going to take? So I will ask that. So be prepared to answer that. I'll come on about 15 minutes too, so we can field questions if that works. And then we'll go from there.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks so much, Liz. And feel free to interrupt and, double click on a certain, detail if I'm, going too far into the weeds or you need a more explanation. I appreciate you guys inviting me to this webinar. It's a topic that I'm very passionate about, and unlocking off market opportunities with AI is definitely a strategy and technique that can take your real estate game to the next level, especially true given kind of like the market conditions and how challenging it can be to find a deal today. So the agenda that I'd like to walk through is first, I
And
want to
Bobby,
give it.
just to let you know real quick, you got to just put it on screen share so we can see your screen, but we also see the slides on the left. So if you wanted to make it on screen share, just to make it easier to see, that would be
Sure.
helpful.
Good.
Now we see it on the right, but there you go. Perfect.
Cool. Okay, so I'm going to start with an introduction, market overview, kind of describe what we're seeing over the last several quarters, several years. I'm going to progress into the key concepts. What are on-market deals? How do they compare against traditional listings on the MLS? And then I'll walk into high-level overview of AI. It's obviously a focus point in technology today. It's transforming every industry, and real estate is no different. Although real estate can be a little bit slow to adopt new technologies, we are seeing that make a significant impact on the real estate landscape as a whole, and not just investors. And then we're going to talk about some specific tools that you can use, both that are available for free and then kind of proprietary tooling. Okay, so myself, I'm Robert Reardon. I'm the president at Constellation Data Solutions. That's a subsidiary of a publicly traded company called Constellation, and I manage a portfolio of real estate technology products. We've been using AI for over a decade, and our core product is helping real estate professionals use data to make data-driven investment and acquisition decisions. And prior to that, I founded CrowdFlipper, which was a real estate crowdfunding platform. I was back in 2013, 14. And we acquired small to medium-sized properties in Southwest Florida, did over $30 million of transactions. And as you can tell, I'm very passionate about technology and real estate. My entire journey in my professional career has been focused on bridging technology and real estate, and giving investors, real estate agents, other professionals an edge in the market so that they could outperform the competition and grow their businesses. Okay, so let's step back. How has the market performed recently? It's no secret that the last 18 months has been challenging for both real estate investors and real estate agents. Home selling profits dropped in 2023 for the first time in over a decade, right? So we can see post great financial crisis and the forced selling that happened during that era. Subsequent to that, we really had just a Goldilocks scenario for real estate investors. You could do no wrong. You could throw a dart at a board and make money, to be candid, right? But those days are over. You can see in 2022, it started rolling over. 2023 was a challenging market as well. Now, I'm speaking about discerning investors, right? If you're looking to buy a property on market and you don't care about your returns, this discussion is not for you. I am here to sorry, Liz, what do you think? Should I see people raising their hand. Should I break or save questions for the end? You tell me.
Yeah, I would. Let's do this. I'm going to just encourage everyone to put your questions in the Q&A box
Okay.
because you may very well answer them.
Okay.
So I would prefer just to put them in the Q&A box, not the chat because that gets noisy, and then we'll make sure we get it through
Okay.
them. That's what I would do.
Okay, cool. Okay, back to margin compression, right? So we're seeing investor profits shrink, and that's due to various reasons. The first being the increase in the cost of capital. That is a primary driver of the margin compression recently if you are financing your deals, right? So we can see coming out of the 2019 era where Federal Reserve took rates to zero. We were in a zero interest rate policy environment, and it was just the cost of capital was incredibly attractive, but that is no longer the case, right? We can see this parabolic move up to nearly 8%. And for the rental investments out there, what this means is most of the deals do not pencil, especially the deals that are listed for sale on the MLS. And we'll talk a little bit later about why that is. But if you're financing your deals today, it is very difficult to find a deal on the MLS listed by a real estate agent that will pencil if you're using leverage. Especially true in competitive markets, but even in tertiary markets, it is a challenging landscape to be a real estate investor looking at the MLS. We're also seeing the rental market have a little bit of a contraction and decline in rent growth, right? So 2023 closed with 5 straight months of negative rent growth, and that is also causing a little bit of a challenge on the underwriting side when you're looking at deals. Whether you're looking at Zillow, you have a real estate agent that brings you deals, you're looking at LoopNet. It is becoming increasingly more difficult to find a decent deal because of the cost of capital, because of declining rent growth, and then just overall increased competition from investors, right? We can see 2021 coming out of 20, a rapid rise of investor activity from a low of around 15% and kind of early COVID to over 25%, creeping up to 30%. So you're finding yourselves, or I'm finding myself when I'm looking at deals, you cannot look at just the MLS because 99% of investors are solely focusing on what is publicly available to make an offer on, right? So in my opinion, investors have to rethink their approach to building out their acquisition pipeline to better position themselves to find a good deal, right? So let's talk about how we can use off-market deals to put yourself in pole position to get those great deals and realize really great return profiles on those investments. So the solution to that macro backdrop is to go off market and especially using the power of AI and automated marketing to identify which properties are most likely going to sell before they list with a traditional real estate agent. So thinking about off market versus on market, off market deals are the holy grail in real estate and really just deal making in general, right? Whether you're kind of an M&A person doing acquisitions, you always want to go direct to the founder, and the same is true if you're a real estate investor. You're in a much more favorable position if you can go direct to the owner because you circumvent all the other competition from investors, and you can often negotiate better deals that have much more flexibility during the negotiation process. And um and we'll go into a little bit more detail on kind of what kind of flexibility and why the deals are a little bit better. But comparing that against the on-market deals are deals that are listed on the MLS, right? There's a listing agent who has in agreement with a seller to list the property, and it gets published on, I guess it gets syndicated by the multiple MLSs, and then gets published on major portals like Zillow, Redfin, um, LoopNet, and the same is true if it's a for sale by owner deal. They'll still get picked up, but those have high competition. Everybody is going to see those deals. Oftentimes, you have a saved search set up, so if a new deal comes to market, everyone's going to see it. Thousands and thousands of people, whether they're owner occupiers, first time home buyers, they're trading up, other investors, everyone has access to that deal, right? So it's easier to access, but the trade off there is you have limited negotiation leverage, right? Because there's an intermediary involved, a real estate agent, and it's actually their job to extract the highest selling price, right? Because they have a kind of not a fiduciary, an interest aligned with the seller, right? So they're actually trying to work against you as an investor or a purchaser because they're trying to raise their commission, right? So the result of that is often lower profit margins. So there's again there's the contrast here between off market and on market. The off market requires active sourcing, but much better deal potential due to the less competition and flexibility in negotiation. On market, and you can see my hand signals here. The on market, again, listed by a real estate agent. Everyone has access to it, so there's there's no paywalls, but far fewer really great opportunities. So let's drill in a little bit further on why off market deals are the holy grail and have these really favorable acquisition terms. First, you have the flexibility in negotiation. There is no firm transactional pressure or timeline per se. Now, sometimes a motivated seller that has some sort of requirement for cash, they might be a little bit distressed. Those probably have a little bit more urgency, but oftentimes there's far more flexibility in the negotiation, and you can meet halfway with the seller to kind of craft a deal structure that is mutually beneficial, right? An example of that would be if a seller has an idea of what market value is, you might not necessarily agree to what that market value or that asking price is. But if they own the property outright, they don't have a first or second mortgage, they can play the role of the bank and offer creative financing, right? And for rental investments, that might mean the difference between a deal that pencils and a deal that doesn't, right? Because the cost of capital, you can ask, okay, I'm going to meet you at your asking price, but I'm going to need, a 3.5% rate on for my note, right? And that might put you in a position to have that deal actually provide double-digit cash on cash returns, which is I think kind of the benchmark for most people to do a deal. Doesn't really make sense to enter into an acquisition if you're only going to get a 5% or 7% return when you could just stick that money into treasuries. There's potential for below market pricing because there's no real estate agent involved, and the transaction costs associated with it are typically like 10% less. So as an investor, you can go direct to owners and say, listen, I think to get a deal done here, it's going to be 15% below market value because there's no listing agent, there's no buyer commission. So it's going to be 6% off the top right there. They're often selling the properties as is without any need to do any improvements, staging, showings. So all in, that's typically like a 10% discount to market value. And I believe the best due diligence is a great entry price. It when you do kind of the discounted cash flow analysis or a fix and flip return profile analysis, the cost basis matters the most, right? The entry price at what you're buying that asset for is the paramount priority and driver of all investment returns. It's definitely not the value that you're going to create, whether you're repositioning an asset or raising rates, rent rates above inflation. It is primarily driven by the acquisition price, and that's true in most asset purchases, whether you're buying stocks, bonds, or private real estate. And then lastly, there's reduced transactional pressure because there's no listing agreement that expires in 30, 60, 90 days. Again, in the case of a motivated seller that has urgency, there might be some transactional pressure because they have a cash requirement on a given timeline. But in those instances, you're going to get higher potential for below market pricing. So I can go on and on about why off market deals are a better channel for profits, but these kind of four pillars are what drive the more favorable acquisition terms. And this is a growing share. According to NAR and CoreLogic, right? NAR, National Association of Realtors, nearly 30% of all transactions are off market, either direct between owner and buyer, or in the case of a pocket listing, it's a agent that is controlling the transaction, but they're not listing it publicly on the MLS. So this is a growing share of the overall transaction volume, and I do think that this is going to be a trend that continues, certainly on the institutional acquisition side. Okay, so now we have a understanding of what an off-market deal is, why we want to target off-market deals relative to on-market deals, and now let's talk about how we can get in front of some of these deals. The first step is to understand big data. Before I go into AI, we need to talk about big data because big data is a component of AI. So big data refers to the large volume of data that we see all around us on a day-to-day basis, whether we're consumers or business operators. In real estate, this means the vast amount of information from various sources, like public records. So think about the 3,000 municipalities that we have across the country, the tax assessor data, the recorder data, so anything that's filed and publicly recorded, market trends, demographic information, economic indicators, etc. These are all classified as big data, and we can use this to gain insight into market dynamics. We can use it to look at trends, extrapolate into the future, really use it to make data-driven decisions, and it's crucial in real estate because it's what we use to assign a value to a property, and how we make underwriting decisions on the credit side, and how we assess portfolio performance and risks. It's all predicated on big data that we see every day, and lots of applications in real estate. Think about a Zillow property page. Every piece of information on that page on these public portals are derived from big data, whether it's, again, the property attributes, the transfer history, all of the filings, the AVMs, the automated valuation models, the Zestimate. These are all built on top of big data, but using sophisticated technology like AI. So more examples of big data. The average time in the home is a big indicator of a future event. When the property was last sold, the loan details, anything that would go into the 5Ds, death, divorce, diapers, diplomas. These are all kind of life events that you can derive and trend by understanding and capturing and using the big data. And it takes a team to do this. We are talking about millions and sometimes tens of millions and hundreds of millions of records when we're talking nationally, but it is key to being a sophisticated investor that's looking to scale up their operations and make data-driven decisions. Okay, so we have big data. Now let's talk about AI. AI is obviously a buzzword today with the release of OpenAI and GPT back in, I think it was November 2022. A lot of the public is gaining some level of basic understanding of what AI is and how we use it and kind of what the business implications are. But at a high level, it refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines, right? Computers, enabling them to perform tasks that typically require human cognition. So this includes learning from data, the big data that I just described, solving problems and making decisions. And there's multiple components that are segments of AI, and we'll talk about some of these like machine learning, NLP, natural language processing, and predictive analytics. We're going to focus on the predictive analytics part of this today. And what this is predictive analytics is taking in vast amounts of data and looking at some sort of past event and then looking for similar data points that will have some sort of in predicting the future, right? So in the case of using AI to find off-market deals, it is looking at maybe 20 years of transaction history, seeing which property attributes or owner attributes were weighted or impacted the transaction most heavily, and then looking at similar properties in that neighborhood that exhibit those similar characteristics. And the whole idea here is to say on predictive analytics is to predict a future outcome or a future event. And in this case, it's predicting which properties are most likely to sell. And this is kind of, the predictive market analysis here. And a home might sell for various reasons. I mentioned the 5Ds that typically drive transactions. Um, it could be some sort of change in credit income or credit score, some life event or stage of life. But those are we use AI to make predictions on which properties are going to sell. And then that becomes your target list that you prospect against. So having a kind of a cursory idea of how we can use AI and what it is using big data. I'm going to go into how do we make this actionable. Okay, so just one more slide on AI here. So artificial intelligence is the overarching theme, but there's subsections of AI, and this isn't new. Artificial intelligence was first talked about in the mid 50s, but it's just becoming mainstream because of the generative AI and GPT released with OpenAI back in 2022. But we're focusing today on kind of machine learning and predictive analytics. Okay, now we understand we're targeting off-market deals because they provide higher return potential. We know that we're going to use big data and predictive analytics to identify the target markets and which properties specifically within that target market are most likely to outperform. But I wanted to show you how everybody on this call can use these technologies. You don't have to be a data scientist. You don't have to have a team of 10 engineers like I do running and managing data pipelines and doing the scoring and doing the back testing. Literally, with some of the open source technologies today, you can do it yourself. So we're gonna look at how we can use these large language models like GPT as a research assistant to process and refine our target market selection. So with a simple prompt, you can gather market data, you can analyze economic and data and demographic trends, and you can use predictive analytics to identify patterns and forecast future events. So an example of this, and you could all play along. I assume that majority of us here have experimented with Copilot or GPT, but you can see I provided a prompt here, and this is Microsoft's Copilot, which is the competitor to GPT. I asked Copilot which markets were set to outperform in 2024 with respect to expected rent growth, right? So we can see here that I don't have to do any market research. I don't have to pull in data to Excel. It's going to scour the internet, look for the most recent reports, whether it's published by, Fred, the Federal Reserve economic, data that's publicly available, or by websites like Real Page Analytics, Zillow, Redfin. It's going to coalesce all that data, and you can go, as so far as asking it to return it in a table view, right? So now I have a response using GPT, these large language models that, you ask it a question and it is like a PhD research assistance, and it is it returns back a ranked list of these markets that have the highest expected rent growth, right? So 4% rent growth is good. It's definitely not what we saw in the last, I would say, trended 5 years, but it is kind of rolling over. I think if I would have asked this question a few years ago, it would have been well above 5%. Okay, so we have kind of target market selection. Now we're going to go into how we can identify specifically which properties are most likely to sell. And really what we're going to do here is we're using AI. It's going to score every property in the neighborhood 0 to 100 based on its likeliness to sell. And that's what you focus on as an investor doing your marketing outreach campaigns too. And so if we think about the old way you're doing mass marketing, it's really kind of expensive because you're sending, either a direct mailer to every property in the neighborhood, or you're spending money on Facebook and Google that's going to display ads to everybody. And we know that the base case here is there's 5% turnover nationwide, plus or minus 4 to 6 million homes are going to sell every year. But there's a new way, right? Using predictive analytics, you're basically saying, nope, I don't need to mass market to all these homes. I need to focus only on, the 20% of properties that the AI algorithms say are most likely to come to market. And by doing that, you're reducing your marketing expense while increasing your turnover rate. So turnover rate is just, the amount of homes that come to market for sale each year. And really by shrinking the denominator, you're putting yourself in a much, much better position, because you're going to have you're going to have a greater quantity of opportunities that you look at, as opposed to doing it the old fashioned way. Okay. So this is a fun exercise. I pulled, and this is again, every one of us can do this that has access to GPT or Copilot. This is GPT. And I pulled records from the local municipality, right? So I'm in Sarasota, Florida here, Southwest Florida. And I trimmed off a bunch of these columns, but I asked GPT and I said, can you use predictive analytics to score each of these properties 0 to 100 based on its propensity to sell? And of course, ChatGPT, being the great AI bot that it is, it said, of course. And under the hood, it is doing all of this data processing, normalization. It's doing the feature selection, which is just a computer science term for which columns are most important or most relevant for predicting the likelihood of a sale. An example of that would be, imagine there's a column that says time in home, right? We know that the average property owner stays in a dwelling for 7 to 10 years. Now you would say, under the hood, the model's probably saying, okay, anyone that's been in the home for 15 years is more likely than the other homes on a relative basis. Now there's a lot of other features that would be good indicators of a sale, right? So again, challenge in credit, change of income, properties and probate. We basically feed in all of that information. We feed in thousands of data points into GPT in a single CSV file, and it will process the data. It'll identify which attributes are relevant. It'll select the model. The model is just the algorithm. Oftentimes it'll combine algorithms. It'll train the model, and then it'll do the evaluation and scoring. And so I took a screen grab here at the end of this, it says, do you want to see the results? I said, yes. So now I have a file here, and you can see column E is propensity score. So I asked it to score the property 0 to 100. A little time check here. Okay, 2:30. I asked to score each property, and there was thousands and thousands of properties here. I just screenshotted the first 25 and for a sampling. But we can see here that what this is saying is it is saying that the properties that have the higher score, and we say anything that's above an 80 is a likely is likely to come to market either by a real estate agent or a direct sale to an investor. So what I do now, and I'm a real estate investor, I take this list and I go direct to owner because I don't want to market generally to everybody in these zip codes. I want to only send a direct mail or make a phone call or target with an online ad the properties that are most likely to sell, because again, it reduces my marketing expense and then it increases the amount of potential transactions because I'm just having conversations all day with people that are needing to sell for various reasons. And it's interesting because there's a little bit of a, oftentimes we'll have a conversation with a seller and we'll ask them if they're thinking of selling their home, right? Like if our call center is reaching out and they'll be like, you know what? I actually am thinking about selling. My kids just went off to college and I need to downsize, or you know what? Unfortunately, I'm having a little bit of a cash crunch and I may have got, my company did a riff, or, I have equity in my home and I need to realize it. I want to sell it. It's really serendipitous that you're calling me right now. We do have a fair amount of those conversations. So again, a public free tool. Now you have to do work, obviously. You have to go to the municipality website. You have to pull the records. You have to, you have to do a little bit of data cleanup, but you can literally just upload it into GPT and get a sophisticated use of artificial intelligence. I could tell you as a business manager, I employ a team of a dozen individuals that do this exact same process. And I have to employ a dozen people because we do it at scale, right? I have every property in the country in a database, and you can't upload 150 million records into GPT, at least through their publicly facing interface. But my team does this all month long, right? We process data, we do the feature selection, we do the model selection, we do the training, the evaluation, and we do the scoring. And this is the output of our work is this propensity to sell score. Okay, so we know what off-market deals are. We know why we want to target them. We have an understanding of big data in AI. The AI is telling us of these properties, these are most likely to sell below market value because of various reasons. And now what? It doesn't, you can't just stop here, because how do you buy this property now? So I'm going to talk a little bit about the next step is outreach. We're going to do outreach to these motivated sellers, right? So we have a list of properties. We have the address. We have the owner's first name, last name. So now it's our job to do outreach. I always take a multi-channel marketing approach, because you often, no matter what you're selling, you have to touch someone. You have to introduce your brand probably 10 times over 90 days at least. Probably much more than that, to be quite honest. And you have to do it across channels, because that's how you become top of mind and really convert as many deals as you can. So we have these list of opportunities, and now we're gonna do outreach. You can do direct mail because we have their property address, and I'm sure everyone's familiar with the the cash buyer offers, whether it's bandit signs on the side of the road or postcards or online ads. Those work incredibly well. And what you do is you use these AI bots to create some of this marketing collateral based on the property and what type of lead it is, right? So if someone's distressed because they're in pre-foreclosure, or they're AI thinks they're a motivated seller for various reasons, you can tailor your marketing campaign around that. You want to make sure that you're matching your marketing templates, those themes, with the specific lead type. And there's programs and services that do this really well. Obviously, Deal Flow is one of them. Um, but you could all, take these applications into your own individual businesses and do this on your own, right? You could go to EDDM for direct mail. You could use a virtual assistant. There's a lot of data providers that will provide you with phone numbers and email so that a call center can do outreach, and you can obviously do online ads. So online ads from Facebook and Google are using AI today. They actually have been using AI for a decade, and they're extremely good at their jobs. They are targeting, and you could upload the list of properties that you get in kind of, this step. You can upload this list to Target, and ideally that's what we're doing here. So Google and Facebook will target those likely sellers. And what happens is when someone kind of submits a form fill or they click learn more, they use artificial intelligence to go one step further to target properties that are similar to that person or that owner that clicked on the ad. So they're using machine learning to feed data into their big data intake system. Then they do their own they do their own process of scoring other consumers that are on their platforms. And it's just kind of like a reinforcement cycle that optimizes the campaigns on an ongoing basis. So again, it's the first step is identifying who you want to target with your outreach. And we do that using predictive analytics. And then we do outreach to those motivated sellers. And depending on where you are in the country, some channels perform better. I'm in Sarasota, Florida. It's hard to get a cash offer ad to work well in neighborhoods that have market values of $5 million. Those we recommend. And my personal experience tells me that you want to send a handwritten letter to those high net worth properties, because they're not clicking on ads on Facebook, to be candid. So you really have to. It's super important to do multi-channel marketing, because that's the way that you ensure that you're going to fill your sales pipeline on a recurring basis, and ideally transact on an ongoing basis. There are some resources for off-market investment platforms. Well, I would say these are pseudo off-market investment platforms, because you're not the one going direct to owner to secure the deal. There's still intermediaries involved in these platforms like BiggerPockets Marketplace, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, foreclosure.com. Some of these specialize in specific deal types, obviously, like foreclosure.com has pre-foreclosures or auction properties, whereas others are broad-based. This would be like a second best, I would say, strategy if you don't want to do the work yourself, but you're going to have to pay a fee in most of these cases, right? Like a wholesaler has most likely already beaten you to the deal, and they have an assignment fee, or there's a platform fee, or a listing fee associated to, so some of the marketplaces like Connected Investors, Investor Lift, or foreclosure.com. But I would say most of the people that are listing deals on these off-market platforms are using the technology that I'm describing. They're using predictive analytics to build a list of properties of motivated or distressed sellers, and then they're doing the outreach to the owners. So this is a second best solution, I would say, to the work that I just described. It's 2:43. I know we're coming up on the end here, so
Yeah.
I want to wrap up by mentioning deal flow. Deal flow is an acquisition as a service platform, and we do everything I just described, right? So you're going to get access to off-market deals by having an acquisition specialist that'll build out that target list for you, depending on what your specific buy box is. You might say, hey, I want to do 2 deals this year in Arizona, and I want to do 2 flips. And then we would take that in those zip codes of the city and then build out a very specific buy box. And then we use the predictive analytics to say, okay, these 500, these 1,000 properties exhibit the qualities of a good deal based on our historic analysis. And then we do the outreach for you directly to the owner. So we have verified phone numbers. We have a call center that will call on your behalf, right? Like, hi, my name is Robert. I'm looking to buy a property in your area. and I think your property would be a good fit for me. I'd like to make you an offer, and please call me back if you want to learn the details. That would be a script that the call center uses. But we also have really great direct mail templates for postcards and handwritten letters that are designed by, AI to convert, and then really great bottom of the funnel investor leads that are motivated. They're people that are searching Google for certain keywords like I need to sell my home quick over the next 30 days, sell without an agent, some sort of signal that Google picks up in with their AI algorithm that would indicate a need for an investor transaction in the near term. So we're we're super excited to be partnering with the investor network and community. Um, we're looking forward to seeing you all in June in Austin. And we're very excited at the opportunity to work with you to grow your acquisitions using this very sophisticated cutting edge technology.
Super cool. I'm going to put, Bobby, the website for folks, Deal Flow
Liz, you're muted. I
REI.
don't know if I have to kick it back over to you.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no, that's great.
Oh,
You can
wait,
keep
maybe my
that on.
headphones died. Hold on.
Oh, so I'd like to start. We're going to do some Q&A here. Looks like we got a bunch of questions. Very cool.
Well, sorry about that. I hope you weren't talking throughout the webinar because
That's
my
okay.
headphones were dead.
Let's do this. I just put the site, the website, Deal Flow REI in the chat box. Highly encourage everyone to check that out. I think it's a 7-day free trial, which is super cool. So just, no strings attached. Check it out because it's going to help you get to that next level. But let's field some questions here.
Cool.
Kimmy. Hey, Kimmy, you're one of our Strive members. How are you? What would you say you need to spend on average to find a seller and close a deal? Can you provide your best recommendation for where to spend your money? It's a great question, Kimmy.
Yeah, great question. So I'm going to speak from my experience. I know that I can monetize any deal because I have a very expansive real estate investor network. I also have many real estate agents that are, customers of ours. So I know that if I can originate a deal, I can monetize it. So I like to spend, I do take a multi-channel marketing approach. We target specific neighborhoods with handwritten letters, but tried and true Google seller leads are always going to deliver results. They are more expensive because if you think of a sales funnel, they are the bottom of the funnel. They are high intent. They are people saying, I need to sell my home today because I'm either in pre-foreclosure, I am relocating for a job, and certainty of close is a paramount priority of mine, or whatever the other reason is. So those are a little bit more expensive. Those on average are like $75 to $300 per lead. But then you're going to convert many more of them on a percentage basis. So to answer your question, Kimmy, I think it's probably going to cost, like, if we're talking about a $400,000 average market value across the country, you're probably going to have to spend, a few $1,000s. It could be as few as $2,000. It could be as high as 7,500, depending on how competitive your local market is.
Yeah.
But one way I would think about that is, I suspect, I don't know how many people are wholesalers here, but the average wholesale assignment fee is probably 15K. So you're investing 3K to make 15. Now let's talk about it from an investment, a fix and flip perspective. I think the gross return on a property was 40%. It used to be 40%. I think it's declining to 30%. So let's say that's 30K or 40K on a deal. You're going to invest probably $3,000 to $7,000, but your ROI is justifying that marketing expense because you're getting the property below market value. The cost basis is going to drive a lot of those returns, and really give you that margin of error, right? Because what we're trying to do here is we're trying to avoid overpaying for deals on market that have that 10% added transaction cost to it.
Makes a lot of sense. Great question. All right, let's rock and roll with some of these questions. Do you prefer Copilot over Chat GPT? Yeah.
I have been using GPT since it came out. Like, I'm obviously a technology guy. I'm an early adopter. So I do have like muscle memory built up with GPT. I feel like it's part of my family now. So I have a little bit of a preference for it. Our company Constellation is a Teams organization, is a Microsoft organization. So I do have free access, or I guess paid access through corporate. I do have a access to Copilot. I've been using more Copilot. But I think that the OpenAI API is more flexible. So I still kind of lean towards GPT today, but one of the great things about technology, it's an iterative thing. It's never like release this and then it's done. Let's go home. Let's go on vacation. These things are being improved upon every day, every week, every month, and they're only going to get better. I can't wait. The future is we're all going to have a bot that does the work for us. So like Liz, you'd say, I want to buy another home in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Here's my buy box. Go find the off-market properties and do outreach to the owners, and then you go, you take your dog for a walk, and then the AI bot says, hey, here's 3 deals to look at, right? So that's the future, and we're kind of building towards that.
Love it. Love it. And just you asked about Bobby's information. I put his email in there, but his email and his phone number is right on the screen, so you can't miss that. So, all right, Lupe, you're asking, no, we answered that already. Liwa, would you work with the unpaid version of Chat GBT, or would you have to make use of the 4 version?
Yeah, good question. So I actually think so to upload a Excel file and have it do the analytics, I think you do have to have the $20 per month version. I'm not 100% sure on that. I pay for the $20 version too. So I'm not exactly sure on that.
Okay. No problem. Sarah, you're asking, where do you gather the data that you put into your CSV file that you upload to Copilot or to?
Yeah. So it depends on where you are in the country. Some municipalities have a public download button where you can grab public records because they are public records, unless you're in a non-disclosure state. Now, me personally, because I run technology businesses, I have every property in the country in our database. So I have a cheat code. Like I can just say, hey, give me Sarasota or give me this. But all of our data comes from public records. Every property address we have in our database, you can get to. It's just a pain in the butt sometimes because like these websites were built in what feels to be the 1800s, and it's difficult to navigate. So it depends on like how new your municipality is, how technology oriented they are, but most of them do have some sort of like public download mechanism.
Okay. That's great. Okay. Hey, Dina, how are you? One of our lovely Strive members, making things happen over there. Okay. On the Chat GBT side, where it labeled the properties 0 to 100, what type of property information was in the spreadsheet?
Now I cheated because
don't tell anyone that you cheated.
I have hundreds of columns that I fed into it, right? Like because we're a data provider, I have every piece of information on the property. I have all of the transaction history. I have the mortgage information. I have information on the owner, like the demographics, their credit, income range, score, etc. So I fed all of that in. But you can like literally just feed in as few columns as you want, but like the more big data that you use, the better the scoring is going to be. So we've been doing this for over a decade. We constantly add new data sources to our monthly, data ingestion and scoring process. So the more data you have, the better your results are going to be. The truth. Gotcha.
Okay. Good stuff. What municipality locations do you target to get the file to plug into GBT?
Again, we have access to every municipality. I only have experience in Florida, pulling records, but like what you would do is you would just like a quick Google search for like Phoenix, Arizona property records municipality, would probably get you good results. Sometimes you still have to email someone and saying, hey, I want every piece of information in 34236, or you can work with a real estate agent that will have access to some of this data through some of their MLS tooling or other integrations that they have. So again, but all of this is publicly accessible. It's just how much effort you want to outlay to get enough data to
Sure.
feed it in. Yeah.
Is there a break, Jasmine? Good question here. What's the price breakdown for deal flow? How does it work?
So we have three different we have two basic tiers, and then we have kind of custom solutions. We have a $599 and then a $999 per month, and that includes access to the platform, the data, phone numbers, call center, and then online ads. So the only difference between the two tiers is how many dollars we feed into um, online advertisements. But we also have more kind of robust solutions. If you're a professional investor doing 5 deals per month, then you're gonna have to invest significantly more. You're already investing significantly more, but it's really it's custom pricing to some extent based on what your specific investment goals are, how many deals you want to do. But I would say on the $599 per month tier, you're probably going to close one deal, every 6 months. On the $999, you're probably going to close one deal every, 90 days or so. But it also depends on how discerning you are and what kind of returns you're looking for. If you're saying, I want to double my money, I'm going to say, okay, well, we're going to have to look at a lot of deals.
Yeah. Someone's having a problem with the website, but it is dealflowrei.com. I just went to it. It had no problem. So shouldn't be a problem there. Okay, Jasmine, is there a YouTube video or a place to see a demo of it?
Yes. Yeah, I can. We're happy to give everyone a demo. I could, our team is standing by. It typically is a quick 30-minute call. We do a little bit of discovery to understand what you're looking to achieve, what market you're in. We'll look at the data with you. We will, look at the back testing and talk about your budget. But this is a completely done for you service. Think about this as an acquisition team as a service, but just outsourced. So if you were going to hire internally for this function, whether you were going to partner with someone or contract out, you're probably going to pay someone,
A lot of money.
at least 5K per month to
Yeah,
do the number.
psychotically high. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you
Totally.
can spend $1,000 per month to have access to, sophisticated technology
Yeah.
and a team at your disposal 24/7.
It's great. It's really great. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
one of the things I really liked most when we started talking together, when we'd had multiple chats about it, and it's just great. Someone's asking about, I'd like a demo too. So is the easiest way for people to get a demo is to just
sign up on the website. You'll
Okay.
go through our sales system. One of our
Great.
our acquisition specialists will get an email notification. And then after you sign up, and this is not signing up for the free trial, just putting in your phone number and email on the homepage, you will be hit with a Calendly page, and that you could just quickly book 15 minutes, 30 minutes on our calendar. And then, we'll walk you through how we help investors get deals. And we do this ourselves. We're investors. We're, some of us are real estate agents in our company, and we all use this technology ourselves because it actually works. We're dog fooding it. And, I think we have 2 to 3 deals underway in January, and it's a good start to the year for us.
Yeah, I also love that when we chatted a bunch, just because it's real, it's pertinent, it's not random. That's important. Okay, very cool. Let's do this as we wrap. I would love for everyone that's here still to, number one, put in the chat box one thing you learned, one thing you're taking away. Because above everything else, right? It's about learning something and then doing something. Learning something's not enough. I learn things all the time, but if I don't do anything with what I learn, it's a mute point. It just becomes another information that gets stored in my brain that's already full. So I would love to hear, and what we stand for in this community is that you take action. One step, one micro step. Even if it's just, booking a call with deal flow, that's a big step, right? Or has this given you some other ideas on something that you need to do?
I mean, our whole mission is to help investors not overpay for deals, right? By going to the MLS and putting them in the position to achieve really great, returns, right? Because you're going off market direct to seller. I can't tell you how many investors I talk to that buy directly from the MLS and bought at the peak of the market and now are becoming forced sellers, right? Because they unfortunately just overpaid, which is exactly what we're trying to avoid.
Yeah, love that. Oh, that's great that you were on both. Lupe, you were on both. Thank you. You've attended your whole afternoon was with me. I feel bad for you. No, that I appreciate that. Just love investor. Awesome. Kimmy, we'll book a call with Deal Flow. Good stuff. Kimmy's one of our Strive members. So many of the women we serve, Bobby, and I know we chatted about this, are making things happen. They're getting things done, but they're doing it all themselves. So that is the name of the game is, there's a cost and then there's an investment and then there's a value. I am the cheapest person you ever know. I mean, I don't like paying for anything, but I have really shifted my mindset of if I'm going to invest this, what am I going to get back? And that's really with anything you look at for growing your business. You got to get some, you're going to get, how can I get double my money? How do I get, if I pay this, how do I double my money? And then some. That's how savvy investors think with any investment they make. I just want to mention that. Don't be short-sighted. Okay, good stuff. Excited to experiment scoring properties. Yeah, very cool. I think it's going to, you love my new glasses. Thank you, Dina. They're blue and fun, right? You're so cute. How long will the replay be sent to us? Okay, Teresa, all of this webinar is going to be evergreen on our blog site. All of our webinars, all of our podcasts, all of our free information. Just go to the realestaiteinvesther.com/blog. And it'll be there probably within 24 hours, 48 hours is when we upload everything. So you'll have access to this. If you forget, go to our website, therealestaiteinvesther.com, go to the end of the page and Deal Flow's right there. The link to book a call through the URL that we have here will be there. It's evergreen. They're a partner with us for a long time. So just go right there. You won't miss it. Expanded knowledge of how to use AI. Good stuff. And I will do a demo. Very cool. Yeah, I think that's awesome. I'm going to introduce fellow women to these ideas and Robert. Very cool, Sarah.
We're here to help.
I think anything you do to move the needle on more off-market deals will set you up for success. You need multiple tools right now to make things happen. And I think now is even more just a great time because I believe, I'm not an economist, but I think deal flow is going to go up. I think distressed properties are going to go up and we're going to start to see prices come down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think interest rates are going to level out. I could be completely wrong because I'm not an economist.
No, I think that's probably a fair assessment.
That's my fair assessment from what I'm seeing and what I'm, finger on the pulse.
And I can say, we have some anecdata to support that. We are seeing more responses from our outreach to owners in January than we've seen, in the prior 6 months. So it feels like some of those sellers that were trying to hold on, that they kind of bought at the top are now realizing, oh no, I'm probably not going to break even on this investment. And they're, responding to our campaigns and looking to sell directly to an investor. So
that's great.
Now is definitely a good time to start.
Yeah. And to get your tools in the toolbox. But thank you so much, Bobby, for all your time, you're willing to support and help. And I think that is something that's really important. These companies that we're aligning with are not companies just looking to sell things. They really want to be a support. They really want to be a resource. And they have some great products and services to support the women in our community. That's the alignment. And honestly, we vet everyone that we bring on here. This is not like we just met each other today. So definitely check out Deal Flow. Bobby, thank you so much. With everything, we have 2 free webinars happening a month. Do something with what you learned. Take action and tag us on the Facebook group. Say, I took action today. This is what I did. Because that's going to move the needle towards your financial freedom goals. All right. Everyone have a great rest of the day. All right.
Thanks, Liz and team. Thanks so much.
Take care. Bye-bye now.
See you guys.